Tell me about Trent as a kid.
As a kid.
Because he claims he was a good kid.
Trent was always something else. Here's had some pictures of him. My Mom by Trenton. This is my mom. Her name is Jane. Look at the picture. She works at the hospital. She supervises nurses and helps patients. My mom and I always like to skate together. Killed myself on those rollerblades. She never forgets to hug and kiss me before she goes to work. A funny thing my mom does is she laughs on scary roller coasters. I do too. Too scared. I love you, Mom.
Alright. And good to go. We'll send it buckled up. Yep. Just departed Trent Palmer's house. Welcome to another Backseat Story. It's pretty exciting. I got Trent backseat. We've been buddies a couple years now. We met early days of aviation as I was attempting a poor landing and one of the worst go-arounds I've had yet.
I remember, yeah, you scared me, man.
I scared myself.
Yeah.
I looked down at my airspeed at one point and I was doing like 32 with my nose pretty high.
Yeah, at 9,000 something feet.
At 9,000 feet. And I kept just trying to dip the nose, and every time I did, I just used these little burbles, like the ground effect burbles, to pop me up and over that anyway.
You know, it's interesting. We throw around the no-go-around thing a lot. And I think we get so accustomed to it, and our planes have such good performance that we kind of forget that when we say no go around, we mean no go around.
It really is no go around.
So,
you know, for the 0.005 of you that may tune into this that don't actually know Trent, a lot of people don't know some of your personal backstories. I think, you know, your content covers a lot of that, but I want to take you up and get a little bit down in the weeds of just who you are and where you're from and what you like to do when you're not creating content or flying around in circles.
Yeah, born and raised Truckee, California, so that's just north of Lake Tahoe. Anyone that follows you probably knows where that is. Ski town. So my dad, he was an engineer, decided he didn't want to keep doing that, moved to Truckee to be a ski bum. He started the first downhill ski shop in Truckee. It was called Sun and Snow Sports back in the day.
Oh, cool.
Currently, I think Backcountry is the place where, you know, his second location was there.
Okay.
His original location is where Taco Jalisco is.
Oh, cool.
Corner, yeah.
Yep.
So he had me on skis from the time I could walk. Switched to snowboarding when I was 6. Switched back to skiing when I think I was about 15, and that's when I picked up a camera because all my buddies were the ones winning Junior Olympics, going to be like the next pro skiers. So I was like, this is insane what my friends are doing. I should start filming it.
As you fast forward, you know, did you go to school or what did you end up doing for creating content?
So I would have loved to go to film school. There wasn't an option that was anywhere I was willing to live. So I went to UNR in Reno for engineering and did a year and a half of that. Ended up switching to graphic design. Went to TMCC or TMU. It's a university. It's not a community college. And ended up getting hired as a full-time editor for a production company in town that mostly did national TV spots, a lot of kids' toy commercials. So Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, that's where my stuff was going.
That's cool.
But when I got hired doing the job I wanted to do, that was my key to drop out of college. I didn't see any reason to quit my dream job to go back to school to do what I don't want to do.
Yep. So that was it for college.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yep. And then while I was working for FLF Films, I had RC helicopters that I was working on putting a camera on the front of. Basically, you know, hand-built RC helicopters with a little DSLR camera. One of my test videos, I shot a friend that was a pro mountain biker. The video got quite a few views for back then. I think it got like 100,000 views, and all of a sudden the phone was ringing. And before I knew it, I had a job flying RC helicopters in the film industry.
That's awesome.
It was funny. I went on a tangent for a bit. I just got hooked on flying RC helicopters, doing all the 3D, you know. I want to be able to cut grass upside down while you're a wedding, like that kind of stuff. So got pretty good at flying them before I actually put a camera on the front. Yeah, and it was a cool ride. You know, there was a time from 2010 through, you know, 2012, 2013 that we were kind of the guys in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So shot a lot of commercials, some features, some TV shows, you know, flew me all around the world doing it. While I was still doing it very actively, you know, I started the YouTube channel kind of end of 2017 and basically said, hey, I've got this spare time, I'm flying this plane, I'm sure people are interested in it, I should try to just post regularly. I recognize that, you know, doing the vlog style, putting myself on camera was kind of a necessary part of it. Although I hate being on camera and didn't want to be on camera.
Yeah.
I just knew that, like, you need context to what you're doing, and the only story that I can tell easily and effectively and really well is my own story. So that's when the camera turned and started facing me. I'm not really a YouTuber when it comes down to it. I'm horrible at all that side of things. I just like going on adventures. I love making videos. I've done it since I was a little kid. The fact that I have found a way to do what I love and make, you know, some money off of it has just been like the best thing in the world.
Totally, it's awesome. Well, let's rewind. Let's go back to, I don't know, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. Does Haley know who your very first girlfriend was in life?
I don't think she does.
Who was the first girl you liked?
I can't remember that.
Well, come on, Trent. Yes, you do.
I think there was a girl, Rebecca, in 1st grade.
Oh,
yeah, I think we're still friends on Facebook.
Oh, good.
My first real girlfriend, Cindy, in high school. And then, honestly, Haley was my second real girlfriend. It was like a 8-month thing, and then we just weren't at the place in life where we were ready for the next step of being like a serious group. I should say she was not ready to be as serious as I was.
Yep.
So we mutually decided, you know, not now, we'll revisit in a few years. And I met her, I was friends with her brother, and we met at a college party.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah, and she chased me down. It was cool. It was weird. I'm not good with talking to girls. I'm like a lot shyer than a lot of people would know.
Yeah.
So yeah, she chased me down. We made it work for a while, and then kind of took a break, and then got back together years later, and it was kind of just history from there. So
growing up and in your early years, did you ever get into any trouble or any just kind of like juvenile stuff when you were living in Truckee?
Fun facts.
Yes.
After I dated Haley in college, my next girlfriend, I lived with for 3 years. She wanted to get a fake ID so she could have a glass of wine at dinner. Found a guy that makes them. We went, took the photos. I saw his whole apparatus. And again, mind you, I went to graphic design school.
Right, this isn't something that was up your alley at the time?
Well, and at the time, my dad, you know, when I was young, he ended up selling the ski shop, starting a sign shop. So I worked there my entire time growing up. So graphics have been in my background forever.
Yep.
Saw how this kid was making fake IDs. He ended up just falling through and never even did it.
Oh, really?
So finally, I'm like, all right, I'll just make them. Ended up making her a fake ID, myself one.
Yep.
And then, of course, one of her friends wanted it. And then before I knew it, I was making it for like friends and close friends.
Yeah.
That's how I paid for my first RC helicopter I put a camera on. Like, that was literally the stepping stone for how I got into the drone world. I couldn't afford it without that.
That's brilliant. The printer and a laminate press or whatever it was.
Yep.
I never had to make one. Steve Hoke was a Westmont student who apparently dropped his ID somewhere. Someone found it, and it looked identical to me.
Oh, so you just got that?
So a friend of mine gave it to me, and I used that for years until my mom found it in my pocket, and she's like, what's this? And we'd go to, you know, all the punk rock shows you had to be 21 for, or whatever it was, out at the bars, and yep, sure enough, my mom found it, and I think I was just shy of like 21 at the time.
Yeah.
It's like, give me that.
Yeah, and it was funny. So, I mean, I just sold it to friends and friends of friends, kept it pretty small. I probably made a total of like 50 of them or something, like not huge, but
that's a pretty good amount, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, it paid for an RC helicopter.
Can we get in trouble for that these days? Should I not be talking about that?
I don't know.
I think we're good.
But, so, it was funny that actually, you know what I made more money on?
What?
There was a couple kids that were like, wow, how do you do this? And I'm like, if you're interested, man, I'll teach you how. I'll sell you the whole setup. So I'd sell them the setup for like $3,000. I'm like, you can make this in 30 IDs.
Oh, it's brilliant.
It was just a printer I got from like Office Max, and then some Tesla paper and some laminating strips. Like, it was nothing. So I'd sell it to them. I'd go buy a new setup, continue making them, sell the kit to someone else.
Oh my God.
And then, by the time I turned like 20 or 21, I got out of it. But
monopolizing on the fake IDs, that's great.
It was funny.
Yeah. Oh, it's brilliant. I wonder if any of those systems are still in use.
I have no idea.
That's pretty funny.
But Yeah, and the only other thing when I was a kid, you know, we used to go throw snowballs at cars, like little hooligans. Like that was what we did. And gosh, there's one lady, I hit her car one year and she stopped and she chased me out into the woods for like a mile. And so then she drove around in the neighborhood. My mom was out snow blowing and she stopped my mom and said, "Hey, do you have a kid about this age?" My mom's like, "Yeah." And so then she laid into my mom. She threatened to press charges, whatever.
Oh my gosh.
The next year, we're snowballing, same corner, hit the same lady. So she stops in the middle of the road on a blind corner. The next car coming along, you know, slides off the road, almost rolls his vehicle. Now cops are involved. We're out on the side of the road dealing with that. We had to pay for the tow truck and all that, but that was about as deep as my troublemaking went.
Dude, that's funny. No, I love those juvenile stories. It makes you human, right?
Yeah, cardboard kitty too. That was another one. We take a stuffed squirrel and we put tin foil on its eyes so it would reflect.
Yep.
And we use fishing line and pull it in front of cars to see who it stops.
That's funny. I've never heard that one.
Yeah.
Oh God. To your channel now too. I mean, obviously you do things very PC. You're family friendly on there.
Try to be, yeah.
Yeah, which is good, and that's kind of your MO, and you've got a big audience, and you got to respect that. But on my channel, I don't really care about swearing. Like if somebody was driving in front of you and stopped and made you slam on the brakes, and jeopardized you and Haley as you were driving along, and the dog came flying from the back seat up to the front, what might you say in a whim inside your head to this person, not directly at them?
So road rage is one thing that I am just so terrified of that. You seen how it escalates and someone pulls a gun out, and I'm like, I don't care how stupid someone drives or what. No car, no like commute is worth any of that. So I don't get upset with that, but I'll tell you when I'm like working on something and then you have like that one fucking bolt that you've been messing with forever and you finally think you got it started and then it drops down into the abyss of hell, like in the engine bay. You're fuck, like no, there we go. That's when I'm like, you know,
that's so relatable to everybody, right?
Yeah.
My dad was from Budapest in Hungary.
Yeah.
And he never taught us Hungarian or anything growing up, but he spoke, you know, I don't know, 6 fluent languages or something crazy. He's passed away now. But I sure wish he would have taught us Hungarian. But I definitely learned a lot of Hungarian swear words based on doing yard work and being in the garage with my dad. Man, because when he would get, like, if all it would take is a fly in his ear, you know how bad that pisses you off when they're trying to wrench on something.
Well, it compounds, right? It's not just the fly. You're like, I'm already struggling. I'm at this weird contorted angle. I don't want to be working on this anyway, and I shouldn't even have to pull that bolt out, but whoever engineered this put this in the wrong spot. Now I got to take half the engine apart to get to the one freaking thing. Like, I get it. And then the fly is just the icing on the cake.
Yep. Oh man, and the Hungarian swear words would come out like no other. Oh, that's funny.
So I've been, you know, working on. I've had this idea for a podcast. I've shot the first episode like 3 times now. I'm going to call it Flight Level 0, and it's just dicey and unfiltered pilot stories, and it will be unfiltered. So that one will be more of a, you know, listener and viewer discretion type thing, because they're, you know, when you're talking about really, you know, serious situations, sometimes some adult language is used, and I don't want to filter it out in those kind of environments.
Totally. So this is some good fun stories. We'll just fast forward real quick before we go back in and beat these winds. And so you spoke about your new airplane. I wasn't going to spill the beans really on what you're getting, but I mean, I didn't expect a high wind Cessna Skyline on floats. What's your plan?
Well, so Textron Aviation, they are doing some interesting things marketing wise, and I just aligned with you know, a 172.
Yeah.
So
and floats. So it was Haley who really wanted to start landing on lakes more and you know, capitalizing on the fishing you've been doing. So you decided to put them on floats.
Yeah, it was after the BC trip, and you know, obviously, there's a lot of compromise when you put on amphibs, and it's a compromise I'm not willing to make. So we're going straight floats. It's going to obviously hinder my amount of flying because there's no lake within like 30 miles of me, but you know, we'll make do. It'll be pretty fun.
Yeah, I know you've been wanting to do just more and more cross country too. So there's
I have
nothing like cross country on floats.
I really like the getting up and just going straight.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my
I'm with you. And you got that the autopilot you put in. You actually put in 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, for redundancy in case one goes out.
I don't want to actually have to fly the plane.
Yeah.
Aside from taking off and landing, which is only on water if I can find somewhere. So, you know, like I said, it's how do I move on from something I've been so happy with? And I truly think I've done almost everything you can with a Kitfox. And you know, I've put that in places that I never thought a Kitfox could go. I've gone on adventures that were a true testament of how capable it can be.
Yeah.
But you just run into certain limitations. So I'm excited for my new build, hopefully removing some of those limitations. There's obviously going to be a compromise. It's not a Kitfox. So some of the handling characteristics I've come to love about that thing, I'm going to have to understand that I probably will lose. But like I said, it's all a compromise. So hopefully I gain enough in all the other realms that it's a worthwhile trade, and I don't find myself a year from now going backwards and trying to find another Kitfox.
Oh man, I think you're going to be stoked. Well, that's super awesome. I'm excited for your next chapter, following your adventures. Well, it's been awesome, Trent. Thanks for coming up. I'm glad we shared a couple fun facts. It's always fun for me too, because I get to know somebody a little bit better. So yeah, all the best.
I got to ride in the back of another plane. I've only spent a little time in the back of Cubs.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah, it's neat back here.
Not every day I get to throw another pilot in the back.